All right, and here we are. We're live on Friday night with the Friday night block party. So everybody who's here, welcome for being here so far. You can see here I've got technically T with me tonight, and also
Yo,
TK
yo.
Bay. TK Bay is supposed to hop on here in a little bit. He's doing an Amazon live stream right now, but he's going to hop over too. But if this is your first time stopping by, I've been doing this about 2 months now, and I do my normal stream on Wednesday nights, the Unhinged Tech thing with English Dan, and we talk about all of our tech stuff. And this one is more of a kickback, chill, live stream, hangout, talk about whatever. I mean, last week Juan Bagnell was here. We talked about cartoons. We talked about 80s games. We talked about all sorts of stuff. So yeah, tonight I'm not sure what's on the agenda tonight, but because there is not one. But
That's the best streams, man. That's the best streams.
what I do want to talk about tonight is I just got this itch earlier to talk about some Nintendo games from the 90s. So I was watching a friend of mine, a BMac, and he streams on Amazon, and he was live streaming. He had his Nintendo 64 hooked up and was streaming some GoldenEye.
Woo!
And I was like, man, I want to play some Nintendo 64 now. So
oh my god.
Definitely tonight going to talk about some of that, and I don't want to get too heavy into the conversation. I'm not sure how long until TK is going to be here. I know he's doing an Amazon live stream. It was earlier, so he'll hop over in a little bit. But yeah, I've got this bug now to play some classic games, and I actually have a Nintendo emulator, and I have an actual I have a USB Nintendo 64 controller, so I can play the games on my computer, just like as if it were a Nintendo 64. I don't actually have my Nintendo anymore.
Right. Man, when you said GoldenEye, man, that took it back, because I remember that's when I was like, GoldenEye was like when I was when you go rent games heavy. Like that's when you go to Blockbuster. I always remember GoldenEye was never in stock. I'm talking about always gone, and they ain't had that many copies. You know how back in the day they would have the box of the game, and behind it if the game was actually in stock. I'll never forget the first time I caught it in stock. I'll never forget. I jumped up and screamed in the middle of the game rental place that's up the corner from my house, because that was the first time I was ever able to get it. I will never forget that. Like, that was the first time I rented it, and then my dad was just like, "How long you want to rent it?" I'm like, "I just need time. If I might go over the rental, but you just gotta let me keep playing this game." So every time somebody mentions GoldenEye, that's the first thing I think about, me being so hyped that I was able to rent it that one time, man.
Let's see, you got a few people in here already. Jason McLaughlin, Jason C, 2 Jasons tonight, Harmless Carl, Sanvier, Ruby. Hey, Ruby, all the way around the world right now. He's deployed right now. Jay Bird. So thank y'all for stopping in tonight. Retethered Tech. So we'll probably have some more people trickle in. We just got started here a few minutes ago. But, speaking of Blockbuster, right now, I guess on Twitter for a while now I've been following, they have the last Blockbuster.
Right.
Because there's like one left now. But I was reading a thing. I guess it's closing now, and they're gonna convert it to like a B&B.
What?
I think, unless I was saying the wrong thing, but I think maybe I'm completely stupid. But let me see here. Let me type it in.
There's a Blockbuster still surviving out here in 2020. How in the world?
There's been one that has been left. It's in Oregon.
I was just about to say where.
It's in Oregon, in Bend, Oregon, and they're turning it. Yeah, it's even on CNN here, USA Today. They're turning it into a B&B. So
what's B&B? Is that?
Bed and breakfast.
Oh, so it turned into a B&B. Okay.
Yeah. So you can stay in there like overnight and like watch movies and do all sorts of stuff. So, hey, whatever it takes to stay.
To keep going. Hey.
Let me see if I can. Yeah, there's a picture of it here on Twitter. Where's it at? Oh shoot, where'd it go? Let me see if I can share. Let me see if I can share this real quick. I'm not good.
I can't believe one is still surviving. Like, I remember the one Blockbuster that's in it's changed into a Twin Peaks.
There we go. See, look, they got a couch.
Yo, that is dope. That is dope. I don't know about the couch, but
that is the last Blockbuster. I guess they're still going to keep movies in there. So what you can do is you can check it out. Stay for a night and stay overnight, and you can watch Blockbuster movies.
That's pretty all right. I'm not mad at that. That's funny. That's actually legit. Like, I can see that being like a they can really make it like a staple because that's the only one left. You can make it like almost like a landmark. Like this is the last blockbuster ever, and this is what you can do. That's dope. I think that's a dope idea.
Yeah, that to me would be cool. I mean, I'd like to see them do that more places. I mean, I would do something like that.
That is good. This is because some movies sometimes you can't get to all movies, especially when they're older. It's hard to find. I'm pretty sure they're just sitting there just wasting space. So it's just like, and I remember when all of those companies started to go out of business, they were having their sales, and I'm just like, man, this is crazy. Like, and that's when everything was converting over to streaming and everything like that. But I do remember the era of going and renting games and all that. That was fun times, man. That was fun times.
Whenever our last one over here closed down, I went over there and I bought like 10 Wii U games for like dirt cheap. And the Wii U games, there weren't a whole lot of them, but they were not cheap. Most of them were actual Nintendo titles.
Yep, they were.
So I went over there and there was one game that I loved. It was Zombie U. Did you play Zombie U?
I didn't. I didn't really play Nintendo U like that. That's the Nintendo system platform I did not play a lot of. A lot, but.
Oh man, that Zombie U game was something else. I like zombie games. I like survival horror stuff. Like the Resident Evil games are like my absolute favorite. Like,
yeah, definitely. I love playing those. I haven't played one in a long time, but back in the day on PlayStation, I love playing Resident Evil.
So I just picked up a Dreamcast again a couple of weeks ago.
One of my favorite consoles.
Yeah, I love the Dreamcast. I got a couple of games for it. I got one that I got was Resident Evil Code Veronica. Of course, I had to get that one.
Yep.
And then I also got Soul Calibur because you can't have a Dreamcast and not have Soul Calibur.
Sure you can't. Nope.
And then I also got Space Channel 5.
Okay. I don't know if I remember Space Channel 5.
It's the one with like the girl. I guess she's on the spaceship and the aliens, and you have to do like little. It's one of those like those rhythm games where you have to press like certain things at certain times.
Okay.
And yeah, it's a catchy little game, but it wasn't a really.
Man, I probably would love the. And it's funny. I just got like that old feeling all over again when I bought my girlfriend her Nintendo Switch like I don't know, a few months ago, right when doing quarantine. I actually found one, but it just brought it back. When I was on the Switch just looking at all the games, I'm like, yo, I can play the original Mario, I can play Tecmo Bowl, I can play Donkey Kong. Like, it legit took me back just playing those old games. I'm like, man, this is like, I literally sat on the couch, poured a drink, and was playing it for hours. Like, she's like, this is supposed to be my Switch. I'm like, look, I can play like old Donkey Kong on this. Like, it was dope. Like, I was just like, man, now I didn't really care for Nintendo Switch, and then when she got hers and I saw the game layout that you can buy, I was like, wow, like this thing is heavy. Like,
it's great because the online membership, like the online gameplay, is only like $3.99 a month, which is dirt cheap.
Yeah.
And you get the Super Nintendo games that are on there.
Yep.
And you get the Nintendo games that are on there.
Yep.
I beat Mario. I beat Mario 3. I beat Super Mario World. I beat Punch-Out. I was beating them. I'd sit there. All right. I was telling my wife, I'm like, look, I'm going to beat this one today. I'll beat that one tomorrow.
I think I may have got her for the year, I think, because she plays Die Hard Animal Crossing. Like, that's the reason why I bought it for her, because she loves Animal Crossing. So I bought that with that. But then I didn't realize it had, so I didn't know you can get the Super Nintendo. And I had no idea until I just sat down on the couch, you plugged it in the doctor, and I'm like, hold on. And I would just scroll. I'm like, do they have everything? I was like, okay, they don't have everything, but they have some of the main titles that I want to play. You see what I'm saying? Like, they have the right titles up there. So this Switch, I almost considered buying myself a Switch because I was like, I could kind of see myself potentially using this, man, like, and playing this when you always want to play it. So, yeah, definitely.
I have a Switch. I got one on day one, and I like it a lot. And Animal Crossing, I don't know if I want to admit this in public, but I've played that game over 400 hours since it's come out.
That's her. She was just this TV right here. Literally, I was on my buddy's live stream. Everybody was like, "Hold on, she was playing Animal Crossing. She switched to Donkey Kong. Like, I think it might be still in here, but yeah, man, like she is diehard Animal Crossing, like all day long. I don't know how many hours she put in, but she like make a character. I was like, I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. Like, I don't want to do it. Like,
it's a tough one. I started playing Animal Crossing back in like 2005 on the Nintendo DS, and
okay. She did say it was an older Animal Crossing.
Yeah, the original one came out on the GameCube, and I never actually played it on the GameCube, but I got it on the Nintendo DS, and I played it every single one since then. Wow. So whenever this one came out, I was like, sweet, we're getting an Animal Crossing title. So I knew day one. I went and I got the sucker as soon as it was available. And I brought it home and I played it. And I probably clocked like 100, 200 hours. And my wife would just sit there and watch me play it. And she doesn't even play video games. She doesn't even play video games. She's just watching me play. She's like, this looks like a really fun game. Like, can I create a character? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then it's like, hey, I would come home from work, or I would get done like, hey, give me the control. Quit taking my fruit.
Yeah,
I
will legit sit there with her. It was like, hey, did you buy your turnips this weekend? Like, I have to ask her because, but I just like watching it. Like, I don't play a lot of games in it that much anymore. Like, I'm an Xbox player, so only game I play is Call of Duty and like Forza and different things like that. But we can be in the living room or something, and I'll be sitting there. I'm like, did you play Animal Crossing today? She's like, yeah, a little bit. I'm like, hey, play it. Like, I don't know why I like watching it. Like, it's weird. Like, I just like to go watch her fish. And
it's a relaxing
it's addicting. Game. It is. It really is. Like, I always tell her, just play it. And she's like, well, I don't know if you want it on the big screen. I'm like,
go for it.
Watch TV, so go for it, man. But I enjoy watching it, honestly.
The only time I watch TV is when I'm getting ready to go to bed, or like if I ever get like sick, if I got like a cold or a flu or whatever, I'll lay in bed. I'll just watch TV for like 2 or 3 days until I'm ready to come back out.
I literally just called and canceled the cable, maybe about early this week, or it was maybe like Monday of this week, maybe, or even like last week, because I got the IPTV service and I got every channel through the IPT service. But at the same time, I don't watch anything unless it's sports. And if the TV is on, we watch Food Network, like Beat Bobby Flay. Like that's our show. Like, we love the Food Network. Like, that's what we watch. Other than that, if it's not like football or anything, the TV is just on to be on. So
I watch it when I go to sleep at night, and it's more of just turning something on because my brain's so busy when I'm trying to fall asleep. I need something to distract me, so I'll turn on something. And like, I watch Frasier. I love Frasier. I've been watching it forever and ever. I've probably seen the entire series like 15 times. Once I get to the end, I just start it over again. So I'm to the point now, though, where I'll fall asleep with it on and I'll miss like 5 episodes, but I don't even go back. I just pick up where it says I left off.
You already know.
I've seen all.
I used to be that way. I used to be a diehard TV has to be on when I go to sleep. But ever since we had our son, he's still in the bed with us. I can't watch TV because he will be distracted and try to watch it. And I'm like, look, you need to go to bed. So now when we get in bed, it's bedtime. This is new for me because I would always just leave it on Discovery Channel or whatever it is. But now he tries to watch it and it's 10, 11 o'clock and you need to be asleep. So I'm like, when we get into bed now, it's sleep with him. So I just never watch TV. This TV in here, like, I just removed it around in my shooter space because I'm like, this big TV honestly is really in the way. Because it only gets used when she wants to play Switch in here. And I haven't even played Warzone on this TV in forever. So I'm like, I almost need to get rid of this TV in here. Or maybe just mount it on the wall to get it out the way. But I don't watch a bunch of TV at all, man.
Yeah, I've got like a 3 or 4 year old 40-inch LCD TV in here in my office that I just made, my studio. I've been playing, my kids have been having movie night for like the last week straight. And I'll be out here working on a video or doing something. So I walked in there so I could hop on and play because we got like a 75-inch in the TV that I play Warzone on. So I've been a couch potato like for a couple of hours a night for the last like 3 or 4 weeks playing Warzone. So I walked in there and I'm like, what are you doing on my TV? So you know what? I'm going to pack my stuff up and leave. So I grabbed my Xbox and I walked out here and I'm playing on this 1080p, 40-inch TV, but I'm sitting like 7 or 8 feet away. I'm like, man, this sucks.
Too small.
So yeah, I'm glad my wife doesn't watch my stream because I'm totally gonna go buy another TV.
Man, look, the thing about it is when I got that TV mounted, it's on a mantle. And at the time, I just haven't played a bunch of games. I used to be diehard every single night, Warzone when it first dropped ever. But I haven't even hooked my Xbox to the nice 4K TV Samsung that I just bought. Like, I don't even know. It could probably look crazy, but it's been sitting here on this 1080p TV right there. That white Xbox does not get played. Like, it's for my son during the day when we're working from home. He watches Netflix on it. And then my girl want to play Switch. Like, that's it, man. Like, I just, that big TV in there, it's like, I spent that money to buy that big Samsung, and I'm just like, I don't even watch 4K content on it. Like, it's crazy, man.
Chris, here, one of the things right here, the Zelda is the only reason I got the Switch twice. Got robbed once. That sucks.
Zelda's a classic. Zelda's a classic. I think she wants to play Zelda. I don't know if she bought it yet.
The Breath of the Wild game is really good. Yeah, I played through it twice, and it's like
is that the one that's on Switch?
Yeah,
I think we watched the trailer to it on Switch. Yeah.
oh, it's so good, man. It's
It
so
looked
good.
good.
I played through it, and it was funny. I didn't really have a whole lot of time to play it when I bought it. When I bought it the first time, I was studying for the bar exam, and
Okay.
I didn't do anything but study for the bar exam for like 6 weeks,
Right.
6 to 8 weeks, something like that. I worked during the day, and then I would study for the bar from like 6 till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning for like ever. It sucked.
Right.
You have no life. And
right.
I took the bar exam, and I didn't even play for a couple. I didn't play. I got my results back, but I found out I didn't pass the first time that I took it.
Right.
I didn't pass like marginally. So
Right.
after all that effort, I was like depressed for like.
Yeah,
I was like, man, this sucks. I gotta study and take the thing all
Yeah,
over again.
all
It's like
over again.
$100 exam.
Yeah,
It's
it sure is. Yep.
So I remember I got home that Friday because I got off work Friday, and the results posted on Friday at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, right as I was walking out the door, just enough to kick me right in the gut before the weekend. I was like, you couldn't tell me this on a Monday. Why you gotta tell me this on a Friday and ruin my
mess your
weekend?
whole weekend up, man. Your whole weekend done.
I went home, and I just laid there in bed depressed for a couple hours. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna turn the Nintendo on and play Zelda now.
Yeah,
and
man.
I played that game for 40 hours over 3 days.
You put the time in.
So I started playing.
I
didn't turn it off till like 4 in the morning. Like my wife had gone to sleep at like 10, and I lived off of like cheese sticks and slushies from Sonic for like 3 days, and just binged that game until I beat it. And then I like, all right, I can re-engage with the world again.
I don't know when the last time I even sat. I guess it's been ever since my son was born. Everything been such a blur, and you just don't have time to sit and just play like you want. You know what I mean? You're always trying to, even though we're both in here, it's just like we kind of split duties. Like, all right, you go do what you want to do for a little bit. Ever since he's been so young, because he's about to be 1 next month, so it's just like I'll try to sit down and play Warzone, but I put my Turtle Beaches on and I just lock in. But you can't hear anything that's going on in the house.
Oh yeah, no.
So she could be resting, and if he get to crying, I can't hear. So I was trying to play Warzone with one earpiece off, and I just can't hear. So I legit stopped playing Warzone months ago. I haven't played in a while because I just couldn't lock in. Like when I play Call of Duty, I like to lock in. You talk about I've been playing Call of Duty since forever. So it's just like, man, I just can't focus on it, man. So I gotta start playing stuff recently. And she started playing an RPG game. It was, I don't know what that game was, but she played it a lot. I can't even ask her what the name of that game was, man. But she started playing that at the same time I started playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
I heard that was good. I haven't played. I remember Red Dead Revolver, and I played that one for a little bit, but I haven't played Redemption.
Oh man, it's amazing. Like I did the first one and it came out years ago, and I always wanted to play the second one, but I just haven't had the time. So when she started playing that game, I'm like, you know what? I don't have to have my headphones on or anything. I can legit hold him or just put him on the ground and he can play, and I can play Red Dead Redemption. So that's the last game that I put like hours into. Maybe about 3 months ago, I just played through the whole entire story. But I played like 4 hours straight, and it felt good to just lock into a game for hours because I haven't done it in so long.
That's hard for me to do. I've got Final Fantasy VII is one of my most favorite games ever.
I never really dove into Final Fantasy like that.
Final Fantasy VII is the only one I've ever beaten. It's the only one I've ever cared about. I played one when I was like 6. The original one.
Right.
You had you could name them like 3 letters, where their names are like 4 letters, and you'd have like the White Wizard, the Red Wizard. I couldn't even read. I just was wandering around fighting things. Like I had no concept of what Final Fantasy was. I didn't play again really until Final Fantasy VII, and it was like groundbreaking when it came out on the PlayStation. Amazing game.
Right. Yeah, it was.
I love that game. I've clocked hundreds of hours. I've beaten it several times.
Wow.
It came around. Well, I had the hardest time with the game. I had a save game that had over 50 hours on it. I was on the last disc. I was a few hours away from beating it, and my memory card went corrupt, and I lost my entire game. Yeah.
I don't even know how I would react to that. I don't know whether you're mad or just be like, you know what?
So, yeah, last CD, I was like right on the cusp of beating the game. I started another game. I got over 30 hours into it, and I was very close to where I was at because I had already done a lot of stuff. So I was very close to where I was at. And then my brother saved over my save game, and I lost my entire game again. And then I didn't touch it for years. For years and years and years, I didn't touch it. And I went on a deployment in 2010. I was in Kyrgyzstan for like 8 months.
Yeah.
And we worked 3 days on, 1 day off. I worked nights from like 6 p.m. to like 6 a.m. It was like this frozen wasteland. I mean, it was like negative 20 degrees whenever I left there.
Right.
It sucked. But on my day off, I had absolutely nothing to do. So I bought a PlayStation Vita. Not a PlayStation. No, I got a PlayStation Portable. I got a PlayStation Portable, and I downloaded them off the PlayStation Store on there, and I got Final Fantasy VII. And I just, on my day off, I would play it. I mean, I would just lay there in bed because I had nothing to do. It was frozen wasteland outside. I just laid in my bed and I played Final Fantasy VII, and I beat it after all those years. But I got the new one, the remake, and it looks great. I played it for like 3 hours the day I got it. I'm like, oh, this is good. And then I was like, all right. I turned it off, and then I got preoccupied. I just haven't turned it back on yet. So it's hard. There's very few games that I can get immersed in like that anymore. Like,
yeah, it is. You're right.
It's like reading a book for me. I have to be able to play I have to have like 8 hours of uninterrupted time because I want to play for a long time. So
I have to stop myself. Like, if I can't, I legit, because only games that really keep me like that was, I don't even know if Grand Theft Auto can keep me that locked in. But Red Dead Redemption has such a deep story mode where you just want to, let me get to the next mission. Let me get to the next mission. And before you know it, it's
I'll quit when I get done with this one.
Man, and it was the same way, but it was all good because at the same time we could manage our son, and he can be occupied doing something and I can still play. So it just got to the point where I'm like, but it wasn't bad because my girlfriend was diehard in the game that she was playing. So it wasn't like I'm just sitting here playing the game. You see what I'm saying? Like, she would go in the room and I would be in here in the studio playing. And sometimes she would come in here and she'll play on her Switch while I play in here. But that was the last game that I played for hours, but it felt so good because I know historically I grew up playing games, and I'm just like, man, this felt good to just play a game for like 4 or 5 hours. Like, I gotta enjoy it, you know? Yeah. I
gotta have the time, and it's just rough for me because it's hard enough for me to get that kind of time for one gaming session, but to know that the game's 50, 60 hours long just going into it, I don't even want to start playing it because I can't commit that kind of time to it.
Right.
And it's frustrating because I want to continue the storyline. I don't want to start it and then stop it, start it and then stop it. And it'll be a year. And I played it this weekend and I played it 3 months later. So I got that. And I also got The Last of Us 2. And I
never played Last of Us.
Oh, the first one is so good. It's one of like my top 10 favorite games.
Is that exclusive? Is that exclusive?
It's PlayStation exclusive, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had a PlayStation. I've been diehard Xbox. I want a PlayStation, because one of my all-time favorite games is God of War. Like, easily probably one of my favorite games of all time. So I like PlayStation just for those exclusives. But I've never played Last of Us before. The
Last of Us is one of my favorite games. I beat it twice. It's I think it's about a 24-hour game if I remember correctly. The first time
that's not bad. Like, in terms of those type of games, it's not really bad.
It's got a good story. It keeps you involved. It keeps you engaged. I got the second one. Like, I went and I bought it the day it came out. And this was a couple of weeks after Final Fantasy VII came out. And I was like, I haven't even played this, but screw it. I'm going to go buy it. So I went and bought it. And then I came home and I played for like 3 hours.
Right.
And then I turned it off and I haven't picked it back up again. So I have The Last of Us 2 to beat right now, and I also have Final Fantasy VII that I need to go back and play. And it's like, I just can't make myself sit down and play them because I'm also been playing the crap out of Warzone. I've been playing Warzone like every day.
Man, Warzone's taking over. Like, I wish all my boys play Warzone, and I'm like, yo, you have not. And I've been playing Call of Duty with the same group since 2006, 2005.
So since the first.
Yeah, like I've been a diehard COD player. I fell off when Call of Duty went like super futuristic. When they were able to jump off walls and stuff, I stopped. Like that advanced warfare, that little era, I stopped playing. But my boy was like, "No, T, you need to come back and get on Warzone. Like this is our style of Call of Duty because we know each other. Like it's the chemistry that we have when we play together is unreal. Like everybody knows each other's style. It's like, man, and I really miss playing with like everybody that I play with, and they play every night. Like when my boy streams on Facebook, and he does Twitch streaming, and I was just like, man, I want to get back on Warzone, but I just know the way my mind is now when it comes to gaming is I've slacked off so much on my YouTube channel. It's just like if I can sit down and play Warzone, that's time I can put into my channel because I've been slacking. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I haven't spent. That's why I haven't played Warzone, because I know it's, or any other game, because I'm like, I need to put that time in my YouTube channel. So that's why I really haven't played any games lately, because I know I've been slacking so hard on my channel. So
yeah, I've seen you've been making a lot more content here recently, which is good.
yeah, I put out, I don't know, man. Like I put 2 videos. I put out one today. Put out one the day before yesterday. So just after my son was born, it was so hard to get back into the rotation, man. Like from when he was born, then the quarantine basically started, and then we moved. So it just, everything just kind of piled up, man. And him being home every day was just so hard to find time to sit down and shoot. Like unless I shoot, what time is it now? Unless I shoot at, it's 10:30 my time. Usually he's sleeping around now. I would try to shoot at night, but I'm also tired. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So I just made it. I decided yesterday that I'm gonna wake up at 5:30 in the morning.
I saw that.
Wake up and and that's it worked perfect this morning. Like I legit, before I went to bed, I set my camera up, set everything up, my light, the mic, set everything up. So when I woke up in the morning, shower, wash your face, brush your teeth, sit down and record. I sat down and recorded my A-roll, edited all the way up in Final Cut, and went back to sleep. Like that's the time now that I'll be able to just lock in, because they're asleep. I don't have to worry about him screaming, yelling, and crying. So I think I'm gonna make that a point where I'll wake up at 5 in the morning and record videos. Like that's the only time that I can get peace and quiet. You see what I'm saying? So
I built this studio out in my garage, and it's made life a lot better for me for recording, because I was sitting in my living room, and like I've got 6 kids.
Oh,
it's like 1 room on the left, 2 rooms, 3 rooms behind me on the other side of the wall, and oh yeah, I'd have to go in there and threaten to murder them. Be like, you shut up, you be quiet, you quit fighting with him, you turn down your game. I'm tired of hearing your microphone. Like I just need 20 minutes, just 20 minutes. That's it. And then I would get into recording. Like the dog would walk in, and their little collar would jingle, and they'd start shaking or scratching. So I built this out here, and life has been immensely better. But for the last 3 years, that was my reality. But man, I cannot get up in the morning. If I wake up in the morning, it's like an hour before I can eat, my eyes warm up, but I can even read my phone screen. Like I can stay up. I worked nights for like 10, 12 years while I was in the military.
Yeah.
I worked 5 p.m. to 6 a.m. for like a decade straight. And I've always been a night person. Like I don't get tired at night. I have to make myself go to sleep. And that's at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And then,
I used to be that way. Yeah.
So the morning time is not for me.
Yeah, man. Like I've always been a morning person, because when I was going into the office, I would wake up at, what time would I wake up, man? I would get to work at 7 myself, because from where I was staying in the city of Atlanta, like right in the middle of the city in Buckhead, but I would work in Alpharetta, which is like almost 25, 30 minutes away. So I had to wake up in the morning, get myself ready, also get my son ready, because his daycare is literally right directly across the street from my office. So I think I was waking up at 5:45 in the morning, like consistently when he was going to daycare. So I'm just a morning person, because regardless of him, I would still get to work at 7 in the morning, because I don't want to stay till 5 because of Atlanta traffic. You see what I'm saying? So I'm a morning person. So this morning, and I didn't go to bed until maybe like 12 something. I was in the bed, but I was just on my phone listening to YouTube. That's when I catch up on a lot of people YouTube. I'll legit be in the bed with my AirPod in, just my girl to be knocked out sleeping. That's how I catch up on YouTube videos. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. I'm going to give it a try this one night, this one morning, and see how it goes. And it actually worked good. So now I just have to figure out what days I'm going to actually record and get a steady schedule. You know what I mean? Like only put out the minimum. I want to do 3 videos a week. You see what I'm saying? So if I can wake up at 5:30 in the morning, I can knock 2 videos out. I know what I'm going to talk about. So I had to get back in the mood because I was getting down, and I was just like, man, I don't know if I feel like doing YouTube anymore. Like, I just don't have time. I had plenty of time. I just had to prioritize it. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I usually put out usually
you be
5.
on a roll. I'm about to say, now you're rolling.
I put out 5 to 6 videos a week usually. My release schedule is usually Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
Ooh,
and I take Sunday and Tuesday off. But I've been so tired lately because there's so much stuff that's been coming out lately.
It's a lot.
Yeah, like I've got like 4 or 5 new phones in the last 3 weeks, so it's like even on my Tuesday and my Saturday, I've put out a video I think every day for like the last 12 or 14 days.
You've been going. Like, I will just catch up on. I don't comment on people's videos, but I watch everybody's videos. I just like and I keep going. But yeah, it's so much going on right now. And the thing about it is, stuff is about to start to overlap because it's like, okay, I got the Pixel. I pre-ordered Note 20 Ultra, and I also thought about, and I haven't even told nobody, I haven't even said this on my channel, but I thought about doing a challenge because using this Pixel 4a has really opened my eyes.
Dude, it's a great phone. It's such a good phone.
Yo, it made me really think, like, why am I spending all this money? So therefore, I now want to try the iPhone SE 2.
I like the iPhone SE.
I want to try it, and I wanted to challenge myself. And people think I'm crazy, but this is what I was going to do. I was going to sell my 11 Pro Max and use the iPhone SE2 until the new iPhone comes out as my primary iPhone.
It's doable. The only problem that I have with the SE, I bought the SE, I got it day one. I used it for like 2 months. And here's the thing with me. I mentioned this in a comment earlier because I put out a video yesterday about the iPhone 8 Plus. Because I've got an iPhone 8 Plus right now. It's basically a large size SE.
I love my 8 Plus. 8 Plus is my favorite iPhone ever. That's my favorite iPhone ever. Yep.
Totally love it. The cameras are good. The selfie camera is good. I like Touch ID. It's perfect. And I got the sucker brand new for $299 a few months ago. So I've been using this thing happy as can be. I bought an Apple leather case for like $15. I got a $20 Mophie battery case, man. I've been living large with the phone. And it makes me happy. Because the thing with iPhone for me, it doesn't matter if you're using an iPhone 11 Pro Max, which I bought the 11 Pro Max. I gave it to my wife. I didn't like it. I had the 11 Pro.
Okay.
I bought that one. I gave that one to my son. I used the iPhone 8 Plus.
Okay.
The thing with iPhone, the experience between using an iPhone 8 Plus or an iPhone 11 Pro Max is exactly the same for me.
Exactly the same.
It feels the same.
Yeah.
It runs the same. It does everything the same.
You know what I mean?
In my mind, it irks me that I paid so much money for this phone that there's no tangible difference for me. So I'm happy as a kid in a candy shop with an iPhone 8 Plus, but I have to have the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra when it comes out. I feel compelled. I like the new Android devices because there's always something different. But when you get an iOS device, I was perfectly happy using the iPhone SE. I used it as my iPhone for like 2 months.
Really?
And the only problem I have with it is just the battery life because it only gets me about 5 hours, 5.5 hours on screen on time.
I think I can deal with that though.
It's doable.
Well, you know what? Now in the quarantine and me being home,
I use it a lot more. That's the problem.
I use it a lot more. Now when I'm in the office, I barely. I'm so busy at times where I barely look at my phone. Like I legit will put it on Do Not Disturb and turn it upside down and just work. Every few hours I might pick it up and see what's going on. But it's some days where I'm that busy. But there's also days where I'm on my phone a lot. But I usually keep 2 phones on me. Sometimes, like when I go in the office, I will always have my Android in my work bag. Usually my go-to Android phone for years has always been a Note. Whatever the Note is, whatever the big Note is, that's what I always have on me. Or S20 or whatever it may be. But it had me just really thinking, like, man, I have the Note 20 Ultra coming. And I was just like, you know what, man? I would like to try to challenge myself to not use a top-of-the-line iPhone. With me being an iPhone person, I mean, I have a MacBook, Apple Watch, I have these things, AirPods. So I rely heavy on my iPhone. So I wanted to honestly challenge myself to
you can totally
the battery though, like 5 hours isn't bad. That's the thing, man.
I'm a heavy user. I'm a really heavy user. And like when I was in the office, like if I were in the office, because right now, my stupid camera here, I got the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 5G. Totally love it.
Yep.
But right now, it's still in the break-in period for the battery, all the adaptive battery, learning my routines, try all that good stuff. It'll get a little bit better, but right now I'm getting about 4 to 5 hours max screen on time. Right about 4.5 hours seems to be the sweet spot. If I were in the office, this phone would last me all day.
Yep.
At home, when I'm using my phone all the stinking time, the sucker's dead by dinner time. It's dead by like 6:30. I got to plug it in. So the iPhone SE 2020, if I were at the office, it was lasting me all day. I would just throw it on the charger when I got home, and then it would be good while I would eat dinner, and then it would be good for the rest of the evening. It was no problem.
Right.
And that's kind of how the Z Flip 5G is for me. But as far as actually using the phone, it's actually really nice and refreshing because you can just use the sucker one-handed. Right. You don't have to have two hands. It's really nice and refreshing to use. The camera is still good. I did a camera review on it. I did a 72-hour review. I did a full review on it.
I think I'm going to do it, man. It's late in the game. It's not late in the game because people still want to know these things, but I wanted to legit make it a challenge just for the channel. Like, hey, I'm legit going to sell my 11 Pro Max. Like, I was legit like, I want to do this because I want to force myself. Lately, I've been in the mood of I don't want to get the top phone every single time. You know what I mean? Like, the 4A has opened my eyes because it's just like I made the video today, like flagships are getting to be not worth it. Did it really? Is there a huge difference between this and a true flagship? For what you do, daily tasks? You see what I'm saying?
Did you see the picture I shared on Twitter last night that I took on that Pixel 4a with that one flower with the
flower? Yes, that looks good.
That's a $350 camera, man. A $350 phone.
It just made me feel like it made me second guess my Note 20 Ultra pre-order. If it wasn't for YouTube, it's just like, man, and I hate to say that if it wasn't for YouTube, but I make a lot of affiliate sales when it comes to cases because that's what my channel specializes in is cases.
Right,
you see what I'm saying? So people look for me to get the device because they want cases. So I'm like, I will get it, but at the same time, it's just like, man, godly, I don't know, man.
It was rough. So I traded in a phone because I ordered it as well. I traded in a phone. I got $400 trade-in credit, and it was still, after taxes, like $1,003 for this phone. And I'm like, if it were not for YouTube, I wouldn't be buying this phone because I'm going to make content. I want to use it. And of course, in a perfect world where I don't have to buy all these phones, sure, I would get it because I like to test out all the new Android phones.
Me too. I've always had Notes, so I've had every single Note. You know what I mean? Yep.
I haven't had every one. Actually, I was late getting to Android because you probably know this, but I'm a big BlackBerry person.
Right, you are. Yep.
So
that's a whole other world. You know what I mean? I was a BlackBerry too before iPhone.
I've been using BlackBerry since 2005. I totally love these phones.
Wow.
And
I love it.
What happened with Android for me? I left BlackBerry when I went on that deployment in 2010. I bought an iPhone 3G. Because I could use messaging and stuff over. I could use like Text Now. I could use the app. BlackBerry, I couldn't do that. So it allowed me to be able to communicate over Wi-Fi with my family halfway around the world. That's when I left BlackBerry for a short stint of time. When I came back, I ditched the iPhone and I switched because I was with AT&T and I switched to T-Mobile when I came back, and I tried out. I had the HTC MyTouch 3G.
Okay. Yep.
I used that until I was waiting for the new Blackberries to come out because they're like, BlackBerry's making a new operating system. They're making new phones. I'm like, I'm waiting. It was like a year and a half I waited. So I got the Samsung Galaxy S3, which was my first Samsung phone.
It was mine. You know what? I think it may have been my first Samsung phone, to be honest with you. I think.
I used it for
I never owned the Note 1. I started the Notes. I think it was a Note 2, if I'm not mistaken.
I didn't get a Note till the 4, and I liked the 4. I had that one because that's when I was carrying two phones.
Right.
I got the S3, and like 5 months later, the new BlackBerry finally came out, and I bought it. So then I got that Blair, and then that next BlackBerry. So I had like a short little 2-year stint in there where I didn't, and that was when Android was maturing. That's when it was like the S3, the S4, the S5, the S6. I didn't have another Samsung phone, an S line. I skipped from the S3. I didn't pick up another one until the S8.
Okay.
And then I had a Note.
You did good, Miss Mix. Oh, those are disaster.
I had a Note 4 and Note 5 briefly because T-Mobile back then didn't work where I worked.
Okay.
So I picked up a second phone with Sprint. So I was carrying two phones. I was using a BlackBerry, and then I had the Note 4, and then I tried the Note Edge, which I liked. And then I had the Note 5, and then I didn't get another Note until the Note 8. So there was a long period of time in there. I didn't use really Android phones, and I was primarily using BlackBerries. So now it's like I have my BlackBerries. I haven't touched them in a couple of weeks because it's like, yo, here's the Velvet, here's the Pixel, here's all these phones right now that I'm testing out. I haven't used one here in a couple of weeks, but yes. I like them, and I probably would have got it anyway. But see, the thing is, even my Samsung content doesn't really do all that great. You can go back and look at my Note 10 unboxing from last year. Still has like 800 views.
It's so funny, man. Like that's the thing. Like historically, Note content doesn't do well on my channel either. But I get Notes because I love the Note line. Like I get Notes because I know that's my go-to Android device. Before I started to get the Pixels and all that, that was my go-to Android device, was always a Note. Like I said, I've owned every Note besides the Note 1. So that has always been my thing. I will always carry whatever iPhone that's top at the time with the 11 Pro Max, iPhone 10, 8 Pro, and 8 Plus. I will always carry that. But on the Android, I would always have an Android. I mean, I would always have a Note device. So for me, Note content really doesn't do well on my channel either. But I know I like Notes. I know that is what the one Android that I want in my pocket is, a Note. That's what I want. You see what I'm saying? So the Note line is usually for me because that's what I want. But this iPhone challenge that I want to do is I legit want to challenge myself to. I think that'd be cool for the video, for the channel. Just a challenge where I sell, and I'm not trying to do clickbait. Like I will sell my 11 Pro Max because I'm not too pressed. Because usually the way my life cycle is we know it's getting to be, usually it'll be iPhone season around this time. Mm-hmm. So at this time, I will already start to wean off my iPhone and use my Note all the way until I get my new iPhone. So for right now, I'm not too pressed if I get rid of my 11 Pro Max because I know right now I'm going to be mostly using my Note. My iPhone is probably going to be secondary at this point, but I got two lines. So
that's how I am, and that's probably doable. Because we're looking at probably, I think John Prosser put out a thing saying like October the 12th or something like that.
Which is right here. It'll be here before you know it.
When it comes to these phones, my thing is whatever makes people happy. People get wrapped around the axle about this stuff. Here's the thing.
They do.
People get really wrapped around the axle, especially when if you say, hey, I'm going to get rid of my iPhone 11 Pro Max and use the iPhone SE for 2 months or a month or whatever. People are going to be like, okay, yeah, like you're really going to do that, or they're just doing this for clickbait or whatever. But what people understand, from a tech perspective, a lot of people, you want to try something new. This stuff comes out, it's like, look, we go through so many phones. I criticized the heck out of the Samsung Galaxy.
I did too.
I criticized the heck out of it. Before you came out, I'm like, this is old hardware. They're charging you too much money. It's the S10 Plus that opens up and closes. What can you do? And I had an opportunity to get one. And I got it for dirt cheap. So I'm like, you know what? I'll go ahead and try it. And I was like, I'm not even going to make any content. I'm just going to try this out for me. And I got it. And within like a day, I fell in love with this phone. And now I'm like.
That's what everybody says. I've never picked one up or anything. I've never even held a flip. Never. I've never held a fold. I have
the fold. And I put it down for this. Wow. And I just really enjoy this phone. And that's what it's refreshing. It's engaging for me. It's right. I enjoy legitimately using the phone. And not that I don't enjoy the Note, not that I don't enjoy the S20 Ultra, not that I don't enjoy all these phones, but it doesn't excite me to use the phone. I'm not like, I really enjoy using this phone. Right. It's just the best, so that's why I carry it. So I'm all on board. If you think it's worthwhile, and go for it. Because I bought it.
Because I just want y'all something different. Like, I've always bought the best iPhones. I bought the 10R, love the 10R. I haven't owned the 11. The SE, the original SE, was one of my favorite iPhones as well.
I had that one. It was a great phone.
I had that phone for years. You know what? I just sold my SE if I'm not mistaken, last year, because I always like to have an iPhone between that buffer for when you get your new iPhone. And the SE was always my backup iPhone. Like I would sell my iPhone before the keynote, so I get my sell. You know the iPhone practice.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would sell my iPhone, and then it'll be like a couple weeks before you get the new one, and I will always use my SE. That was always my backup device, and I think I gave it to somebody that needed it. They needed a phone. One of my friends, I think, like fell on hard times. They needed a phone. I was like, you know what? My SE was like brand new looking. Like it always was in the case, screen protector. I was like, here, you can just have this phone. This is literally just like a backup. And I gave it to him, and I was like, damn it. I gave somebody my SE. But now I just want to try something different. Like, instead of just always getting the best iPhone, not saying that I'm not going to get the iPhone 12 when it comes out. Of course I'm going to get it. But I may get the smaller version. The iPhone 11 Pro, I love the 11 Pro. Like, that phone, I love it. I love the size. It's weird, but I like the size of one-handed phones, man.
I am actually, the iPhone I'm most excited out of the 12s is that rumored 5.4-inch model. It's the same size. It's just edge-to-edge bezels, and I'm actually really looking forward to it because the newer processors are so battery efficient. And look who we got.
Hey.
Oh, dude. Hey, welcome, guys. Welcome. Sorry, I'm running a few minutes late. Had some technical issues, as Adam knows.
Yeah. So
my
we've
first
been
one.
talking about like refreshing form factors in phones now because
Oh yeah.
T says he wants to try and pick up the new iPhone SE and give it a whirl. And I was talking about how much I love the Z Flip.
Oh yes. No, you just picked up the Z Flip 5G too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think the SE has an interesting form factor. For me, it was more about the size. But so I have the SE, and I have as you do as well, Adam. The I think was it the Pixel 4a.
Yes.
As long as you're comfortable with the size, I think it's definitely a unique experience. Yeah, it's
I have the 4A as well, and that made me open my eyes to be like, you know what? I always get the top dog iPhones. Let me see if I can challenge myself to use the SE2 for a little bit. Like, I legit want to use it until the new iPhone comes out. I want to challenge myself in my channel just to do that, you know?
It is a challenge. It's absolutely a challenge. The real estate on. So for me, I actually installed iOS, the iOS beta, iOS 14 on it. So it actually became a little bit more functional because of that new folder setup, the new floating windows, and all of the new things. So if you get to do that, definitely, I think you'll enjoy it.
Thinking about it, because I'm spoiled with the 11 Pro Max. Like I have the 11 Pro Max, and it's sitting by now, sitting on the side because I'm using the Pixel 4a. But
I was using that tonight. Sorry, I gotta forget. I was using it tonight. Sorry for
like it's over there on the charger. It's just sitting there because it was dead because I haven't used it. So I know it's note season coming up. I'm in the middle of the Pixel 4a, but at the same time, I was like, you know what? This is challenging me because I love the 4a. Like I love that. And I'm not saying that because Google said I love that phone.
It is. It's amazing. I was very. Like we saw the leaks, we heard about it, and we're like, oh my God, whatever, and all of that stuff. And then you get the phone and you use it, right? And you start taking pictures, and you're like, what the heck, man? This thing is just like, it truly benefits from all of the Google science, all of the Google image processing that they're able to do. And it tells us that Google doesn't really need to play with, the Snapdragon 865. They can do perfectly fine in the 7 series. I'm even running like the Android 11 on my Pixel 3a, perfectly fine, no problem. So the SE will be a good challenge. I'm interested to see what comes out from you if you end up picking it up.
I think I am. I legit think I'm going to challenge myself to do it because I've never challenged myself to do anything that bold. And I know people on the channel are going to be like, "Oh, you're lying." I will legit sell my 11 Pro Max. That's how much I am really to go into it. Like.
Yeah.
I want to try something different. I've never forced myself to try something different. Like I've always had a phone, but I always had the bigger iPhone just on standby in the corner. You see what I'm saying? Like I want to completely eliminate myself from the potential of going back to the big boy. Like and challenge myself. I want something fresh. Like sometimes you get dull with content and you want something fun and refreshing. So I think for me that'll be something kind of fun that I think a lot of people will want to see. Maybe not, but I want to do it for myself. So
You know what? I think as long as you're having fun with it, people will enjoy it.
Yeah,
I think
that's
a lot
what
of
I wanna
people
do with
feed
this
off
one.
the energy of the channel
Yeah.
too. So as long as they get excited for things that you're excited about, like if you're bouncing
Yeah.
all over the place because of something, that's what they feed off of. So
Yeah.
the content is sometimes almost secondary, but it is more of a relationship between you and
It
your
is,
audience,
for
which
sure,
is always
for sure.
there. Yeah.
Yep.
And I want to say real quick, thanks for the super chat, Carl, and TK Carla wants to say says hi.
Hey man, how you doing?
So yeah, and that's what spurred this whole conversation. We're sitting
Yeah.
here talking about the Pixel 4a because all three of us have it.
Yeah.
And that kind of made him, he wants to try out the iPhone SE. And I totally love the Pixel 4, and I've been going around and taking some pictures with it. And I'm not really much of a camera or a pixel guy. I'm a picture guy, not a pixel guy. When it comes to my reviews, I will show a bunch of the pictures that I've taken, but I don't get down into the weeds. I'm not like Juan, and he can tell you all about everything. That I am a
the deep dives. Yeah.
Juan is a different beast.
I use my mirrorless, and I'm like auto.
Yep.
Like I'm not a technical expert when it comes to cameras. I can tell you, it looks sharp. The image looks blown out. The color saturation. Yeah, stuff at face value that I can kind of explain to my audience. But I'm not like a down in the weeds with talking about focal length and all sorts of other things. It's just not my thing. So when I get the Pixel, it does everything for you. You just have to set it up. It's like putting a ball on a tee, playing t-ball, and you just got to swing. And then it does all the work for you. And it's great because you can take some magnificent pictures without actually being a photographer. And to be able to get that at $350 is just mind-blowing to me because there's nothing like it.
And it's an improvement over last year. If we think about what they gave us last year with the 3A, we got double the storage, 2 extra gigs of RAM, the 7 series processor, not a 600 series. And we don't have to buy the extra model to get the extra stuff. It's one model, simple, easy, 350, move. So, but I'm with you. Yeah, no, Pixel auto mode has been, when it comes to photography, I think they're pretty much one of the top level of photography cameras. I feel like Pixel-wise, and also if you go into Sony is a little bit more on the manual side, but control on the like Xperia 1 Mark II. But one thing you guys will appreciate when you do try the iPhone is the video side. Though the iPhone SE is somewhat of a king. Video is better, yeah. It's still a challenge. Pixel needs a little bit of work on getting video. So
the 4A is a little better than what it used to be. Now I've just played around, and Pixel, we all know, you got some people who swear by the Pixel video camera, but to me, I was just like, it was always lacking. It was always, everybody bigged up the photo capability so well that the video side would get overshadowed. But it's better, but iPhone is always going to be king when it comes to video.
Exactly.
That's just, people hate to say that. People hate to hear that, but that's just fact.
You have to admit where the power is, really. Especially on the Pro Max that you have right there.
Yeah.
Apple did a really good job of matching the color science, the colors between the different lenses. And that's the biggest thing we always challenged us when we go with Android. Is they give us multiple lenses, but each lens produces a different color temperature, a different color science. So you see that you're shifting between 2 different lenses. The 4K 60 on every single lens on the iPhone, perfect. Although not on every lens on the SE. But again, everything is using the same color, which this is what I appreciate. So for me, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys think of those. I love the SE, and if you can install the beta, make sure you back up your data off of it first, and go and check it out.
I have not used a beta in forever, and I think I just put that question on Twitter, I think yesterday, and I was like, you know what, how is the beta? Because I haven't touched beta since.
I'm like in beta heaven right now.
12 beta, maybe iOS 12 beta. I have not messed with it, so I was just like, let me just put it out there. Everybody replied on Twitter.
I'm even running the beta on the OnePlus 8, man.
On beta. Well, you know, when you think about OnePlus, I still think about OnePlus is just like booting and custom ROMs. That's what I was on OnePlus One, and that's when I think
my
about
department, man. That's my bread and butter, man. Come on,
man. I used to do it so much back in the day, man. I really enjoy actually, and I know you say you like Blackberries. I used to. You remember Scott's ROMs back in the day?
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to beta test his betas for what were they called back then on Blackberries? What were they called? I guess builds or whatever they were before he created one. I would always test for him.
The test builds. Yeah. So it's a test build. Yeah. It's essentially Yeah,
I wish I started about. That's when I was like always wanting to start YouTube back then, but I never did. Just rooting in custom ROMs and cyanogen
I
mod, man.
started YouTube like 10 years ago.
Oh man, you took us all the way back to CM, man. See how back in the old days of cyanogen.
Man. Cyanogen mod, man. That's the overclocking days, the kernels, and man, that was the fun days. Living on
there's still
XDA.
a community. It's just not as it's harder to tell, but it's almost like companies are starting to learn from custom ROM, and modders. So they incorporated a lot of that stuff into their phones. So we're not needing it as much. Like themes were a big thing that we used to do. Custom fonts, custom icon
pads. On XDA. Guys live on XDA developers, man. Like. Dude, I always think. Even I was just thinking the other day. I said, I wonder how is the dev side to this Pixel? Do they have any custom ROM? I literally thought myself the other day. Like, is there any custom ROMs going on for this Pixel? Like, I'm curious.
It's one of the first devices to get custom ROMs on them. I do have to say though, with Android 11, rooting is not as simple as it used to be. With every version of Android, we always see some new development into security. Obviously, they're trying to build it more secure. Not that we're trying to make it unsecure, but essentially unlocking the bootloader is always the easiest. But again, rooting it and running it on a stable, like especially with any kind of magics for modules or anything like that. There's always stuff for it. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised for people wanting to change different things on that and customize it.
Yeah, man, it was just fun back then, man. I remember. My brother was like, "What are you doing all the time?" I remember he had a Samsung Epic, I think, and I never forget. I rooted it and I bricked it, and it was right before he had to go to work. I was so nervous because he was like, "This is why I didn't tell you to mess with my phone. You wanted to mess with it." I never forget. I was sweating bullets, and I had to use Odin to get it all back and running, man.
Man, we still use Odin. Odin is king, man.
Odin is the truth because that's what like carriers uses Odin. I think, if I'm not mistaken. So I was just
Odin is it's supposed to be an internal build software thing, by the way. It's not a public release thing. Nobody was really supposed to have access to Odin other than internal.
But it's out there. You know what I mean? So, that was the fun I used to have back then, man.
Moment of truth. Now, I held off on this while we were waiting for you to show up.
Okay.
It's time to talk about some Nintendo 64 games. we got into this for like a few minutes at the beginning of the show talking about games. And, today I was excited about it because I was watching a buddy of mine. We all know him, a BMAC. He was playing, he does a lot of Amazon streams, but he was doing where he was playing, he has Nintendo 64 hooked up and was playing GoldenEye. I was like, man. I was
about to say GoldenEye, man. That's my favorite. But yeah, go ahead.
It's the GOAT.
So, I mean, of course, we all play video games, and me and Juan last week were talking about a bunch of old like Nintendo and Super Nintendo games. But there are some amazing classics on the Nintendo 64, and I wish I could have put more in the poll earlier. But I got to tell you, the poll, GoldenEye is winning right now because I was like,
has to be.
I was like, what's the best Nintendo 64 game ever? And I put Mario 64 up there. I put Zelda 64 up there. I put GoldenEye up there, and I put Smash Brothers up there.
Okay. No Mario Kart though. I'm surprised. Okay.
Whoa, Mario
Kart. Mario Kart. Like all those other ones were all like very revolutionary with what they did. And Mario Kart 64, of course, was built off of Mario, but like Zelda 64 took the franchise completely new places.
Oh, of course.
Smash Brothers, it was the very first one, and you see where we're at now with it 20 years later. Mario 64 was a huge game changer because it was like the first 3D game on the Nintendo.
It was the first Mario where you could see like that, like whoa.
Exactly. Yeah, no, the world.
See Mario like this.
So I originally put Mario 64 instead of Smash, and then I went back and I deleted it real quick and put Smash because I felt like Smash was a little bit more pivotal game in the gaming industry for Nintendo than with what it created. So if I could have put more options, Mario Kart would have for sure stayed on there. But
that's the heavy hitters there. I mean, that's man.
Those are some really good games. Yeah, no, I remember when I picked up my first Nintendo 64, and it was because of Mario Kart. And then when GoldenEye first came out, I remember going to Circuit City to pick it up. That's how long.
Circuit City!
Remember Circuit City? That thing that used to exist
was a store, man.
Forget dude, it was the best City, thing. The red plug at the corner of every place you used to go for. If you guys know, Kevin the Tech Ninja used to work at Circuit City back in the old days. So
I know that.
It's a classic, right? We grew up with Circuit City. I mean, it
Yes,
doesn't
sir.
exist
Yes,
anymore,
sir.
but
That
if you
was it.
remember the days, or even back in the days, you just man, games were like when GoldenEye first came out, that the first person shooter experience going in there. And I mean, I played it again, and I think not that long ago, I played it again on the new Nintendo 64. You know, the emulator that came out,
Yeah.
and just enjoying the graphic. Even today, still kind of relevant with the way we play video games. And like with Fortnite and PUBG, the classical way of playing a first-person shooter to me was amazing. And especially when you used to go to different levels, the shooting option is just.
Oh man.
To me, those are the classics that I remembered. And unfortunately, my son looks at those games right now and he's like, "This is an old game. I don't want to play that. Can I go play Fortnite?"
Like, do you know what this did for games nowadays? GoldenEye was, man, like the standard.
It is. And I explained to him, I said, "This is the reason why you're here. This is what
Right.
paved the way for the thing that you're playing right now with the whole dancing and everything." So, but how's the poll? How long is the poll going for?
It's going to run till tomorrow. And actually, one more thing here, we have another Circuit City employee right here.
Hey,
The poll is
see, everybody knows, man. Circuit City is a classic place. It's like it's a history thing. The buildings are still around, at least in LA. They've changed the color, so there's a couple of stores where Circuit City. I know where they used to be because I used to go there.
Me too.
But they changed the color of the building, and then they just made them into another store. So it's always fun to see them.
I actually stopped right by one. And I was just thinking about this on Wednesday because I had to go downtown to go to the office for a few hours because I've been working from home since March. Yep. And I was coming back and I stopped somewhere real quick and I passed the old Circuit City and I looked over and I consciously thought, because the building's still there, I'm like, oh man, there's the Circuit City. But back in the day, there was Circuit City. You had CompUSA some places.
Oh man, yes.
And CompUSA.
I never had a CompUSA. In my hometown, it was just, and I came from a small hometown in North Carolina. It was just Circuit City. And to this day, I know where Circuit City was. It turned into an Outback. And I was like, man, that's Circuit City. Like, forget Best Buy across the street. That's Circuit City right there, man.
That's horrible.
Dude, and they used to be also like Software Etc. and in the malls. I don't know if you guys had them back on.
I love Software Etc.
Yeah, so that was one of my first jobs out of high school. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
I loved their program because they used to let you, if you worked for them, you got to to borrow some of the stuff in the store, like computer games and video games, to learn how to be able to sell it to people. So you got to use them over the weekend and bring them back. So I got to try a whole bunch of different things with them, and it was really nice back in the day when games used to be on floppy disks and CD-ROM.
Software Etc. The last game I ever bought from there was the original Age of Empires.
Oh, Age of Empires! Oh my goodness!
PC gaming too, back in the day, man. PC gaming was
that game, man.
That game, gaming forced me to upgrade my computers. That's how I got into building computers. That's how I got into it. For my birthday presents when I was like 10, 11, 12, I'm like, hey, I need this, I need that. And like, I would get new stuff. And we had a Pentium, the very first Pentium, we had a 75 megahertz.
with the turbo button, right? With that overdrive button, the turbo.
The 66 megahertz one had one, but the 75 didn't. We didn't have one of ours. It was an AT&T box, and it had the old dip switches, so you could overclock it. And I got a book from the library about PC hardware and overclocking, and here I am, like 12 years old, going in there messing with the dip switches. This is why I did it, because Age of Empires required a 90 megahertz processor, and mine only 75. But I found out that if you change the dip switches in the certain configuration, it got me to 90, and I was overclocked it to 90 megahertz, and that's what I was using to play the original Age of Empires.
Good to know. Yeah, my computer started back in the days of the 486 side, right before the Pentiums. So one of my first computers was a 486 DLC with, I want to say 25 megahertz with an overclock to 40, with 1 gig of RAM, 2 megabyte. No, wait. Yeah, I had like a 4 megabyte hard drive with a floppy disk. I had to boot up DOS on there, and then Windows 3.1 that booted up off the floppy disk. So it was early days, back when WordPerfect was on the drive. So really like command everything, but that's what got me into computers originally, like building them and setting it up. And It was more about bulletin boards, modems, connecting to BBS boards, and then be able to connect with people. The old internet, I guess, before the internet was the internet. And then the Nintendo 64 was for me, that and the Sega Genesis were the gaming systems. I didn't play too many games on the PC back then because they weren't powerful enough. So the Nintendo 64 is where I got in. I didn't even get into the original Nintendo. 64 is where I started. And of course, the Sega Genesis before the Dreamcast came out. Those, Sonic was my favorite on the Sega. And then, of course, Mario, Team Mario on that side. Oh, my God. And it's classic.
Very familiar with the 486. My first computer I ever built was a Cyrix 386 PC.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was a Cyrix 386. It was 33 megahertz. I had a 190 megabyte hard drive. I had 4 gigabytes of RAM in there. And then my next one I built was a Winchip DX2. It was a 486 100 megahertz.
Oh man, okay, yeah.
And that got hot.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And I remember that 486 build that I have was like $700. RAM was expensive. Like 4 megabytes of RAM just to run Windows was like crazy expensive.
That's so crazy, man.
It was
I have never custom built a PC. I've always been into them, and to this day, I said I still want to. I'm not really into PC gaming, but for some reason, every time I go into like Micro Center or anywhere like that, that makes me want to build a PC. I'm like, you know what? I've never done it before. I know what I'm doing. I mean, I'm majoring in school that's what we kind of did, but I've never personally built one. So I'm just like, I would like to build one, just a beast one, just to have. Like whatever I want to do, it'll do it. You know what I mean?
It's fun, and it's also crazy enough that it'll make you pull your hair out if you have any hair. Like for me, this is why I don't have any. But it's one of those things where it's easy. It's so nice to customize, and also if you want to upgrade, like for me right now, I'm about to upgrade my SSD. I just bought in a 2 terabyte SSD that I want to replace my M.2. So little upgrades like that always makes it easier than to buy an entire system. So even if you don't start with a custom build that you built yourself, more than likely, if you have a desktop, you're able to upgrade it piece by piece and get that next level, or get a gaming monitor or stuff like that. So always fun.
I wanted to like just go through and build one. Like I just want to do this one time and say I'm done. But when I build it, I want it to be correct. Like, okay, you didn't play on your first build. You know what I mean? Like I want it to be just jump out there and make it the way I wanted to do. So I always said I wanted to build one, and I said I can. I just haven't really taken the time to actually do it. So
always. Yeah.
So, we know about all the popular games when it comes to like the Nintendo 64, but I want to do another poll, and like what's your favorite? Well, it's really hard. I want to do another one because there's other games that people still really consider as really, really good, like Star Fox 64.
I like Wave Race.
Wave Race is one of my favorites. That was where I was going with this, because it's one of those ones where it's like, it was a Nintendo 64 exclusive title. It never saw another one.
Nope.
But it was such a good game.
I would almost put Star Fox up there with some of those.
Star Fox was actually, they have that on the new rebuild. Yep.
Yeah, I would almost put it up there because Star Fox really was, man, Star Fox was a game.
I never even cared. Yeah, it was funny because when Star Fox came out for the Super Nintendo, it had the VR chip in it, and it was like the new thing with polygons and the 3D that was on there. I didn't really get into the original Star Fox all that much, but when Star Fox 64 came out, man, I played that thing over and over and over.
Yeah, man.
Dude, that's one of the other classics. I would think, if anything else, they have that on that new Nintendo 64, the smaller one, the mini one that's selling. Well, if you can find it, I like that one. And like I said, for me, Mario 64, when Mario flies with the wings, that just kills it for me. Just the whole space and the ability of walking around. It changed the whole game systems.
Yep. It was done so well too, because that's one thing. Like when you look at PlayStation, when you look at Xbox, you look at some of these other ones. Of course, they came later, but sometimes you get some games that don't feel very polished. Yeah, especially whenever, like when it came to like original 3D stuff, like you can look at the original Resident Evil, and people still clown it because of the clunky controls. Because it's like you have to turn around, then go straight, then turn, then go straight. But the freeform 3D environment world that they did with Mario 64 was just revolutionary at that time period, because the only 3D stuff prior to that, you looked at like Sonic 3D Blast or like or Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo. Like 3D was nothing like that. So whenever Mario 64 came out, it was seriously it was groundbreaking.
It is, and I think it's still enjoyable today. There's a lot of emulators you're able to download and run it on your smartphones, and it's still enjoyable even to this day.
It holds up really well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm actually, while we were talking, I did a quick search on some of the older games. You know, like, oh man, there's so many. Wave Race is definitely one of them.
Yeah,
oh man, oh man, come on, Donkey Kong. Oh man, Donkey Kong.
Man. Gotta have Donkey Kong in there.
That was another fun one. Yeah, no. I can't wait. I mean, honestly, it's one of those retro, and then I keep forgetting the. Didn't Nintendo release that other one, the one with the goggles? I keep forgetting the name.
Oh, the Virtual Boy.
The Virtual Boy, right? That was a short-lived little console that had some cool options in there. It was all about 3D. You know, the colors weren't really there. Yeah, no. It was. I remember like have to set it up on the table and put it on and play with the controller, man. But the Virtual Boy, when it came to software, etc., that was fun.
How can I forget Turok? I love
Turok was so good. And
I'm
also
looking at it. How can I forget Turok?
Star Wars Shadows of the Empire was a fantastic game.
Oh man, yeah. Star Wars.
I'm looking at the list now of like
I know. Like there's so many games you forget.
Perfect Dark was good.
Pokemon Snap. I love Pokemon Snap.
Wow.
Dude.
I put Turok up there high. I really like
it is. It was definitely
a really good game.
Man, that was in '97, guys. Wow, that was.
It is. I'm looking at it like.
They also had Gauntlet.
Oh my god, man, that is such a long. I can't believe.
It makes me want to go back. I have like all of the old consoles.
Mortal Kombat Trilogy. That was nice. That was one of the first ones I loved about.
I still have, man.
Oh, Mario
always
Party?
make sure we kept them in good and kept the original boxes for them in our attic. And I want to know. I think I have my original 64 is up there because I was crazy. No, that was Dreamcast. I love Crazy Taxi on Dreamcast.
Dreamcast was actually really nice. Yeah, no, Sega Dreamcast is. Systems. It was one of the first ones I started to try to mod before starting modding the PlayStation, the first PlayStation, starting to chip those.
Modding was big with the Dreamcast.
I think I used to make the Dreamcast games. I think that's when I started the first like burned Dreamcast games. Like I think when like Xbox came around when I was in school with 360, that was how I funded my freshman year. I swear, like
the first Xbox. Man,
I was burning games when Madden first came out. I would have like I don't know how many copies for $20. Like I remember my dorm room sent me a letter about me using so much bandwidth in my dorm room. Like that's how bad it was at downloading torrents. Like man, those were good days.
Those are the good old days of the bulletin board. Yeah, no, exactly. Good old days of.
People don't know anything about burning games on dual layer DVDs. Like
it's like what? Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Exactly. And you had to do it on the dual layer one. Exactly. Yeah. Oh my god, these are that's the predecessors to modding, right? If you were into that back in the day with the old 64s and the Dreamcast and the PlayStation and the Xbox, when it came to Android and running things, because Windows Phone was similar. They're all roughly systems running on some type of a operating on a device, and you just need to figure out exactly how to mod it and change it and overclock, and
that's it.
Oh man. But yeah, I love building PCs. If you get a chance to even try to upgrade your existing
research, and
it's very
ever since I went Mac, I've been just with my computers. I was like, I'm only going to have Macs for my computers.
Yeah, no, it's a little harder with Mac. Yeah,
I wanted to build a PC. I don't know what I'm gonna use it for, but I just want to build one, just to have it for whatever. You know what I mean? Like.
Editing and gaming, that's primarily what I use. My laptop does 90% of my work, but for actual editing and gaming, like heavy lifting gaming, the desktop PC is pretty much the only thing I can do.
And I have
especially if you want to drive like big monitors. So yeah.
Because I've got a gaming PC, but I primarily use my MacBook Pro 16 inches when I do all my editing on.
Yeah, that's
what I have my setup here. I record right here.
Like 2 weeks ago.
Pop my SSD right in, and then I just transfer my files over, and I work on it right here. So it works out great. But yeah, I do a lot of gaming on my PC, and I've got a Ryzen 7. I've got a RTX 2080 Super. I've got it set up nice where I can play pretty much whatever. But I've always every couple of years, it's all right. Let me go ahead and upgrade and change this out and change that out. So this should be good for a little while. But I think next time I'm probably gonna be looking at a Ryzen 9 or the Intel equivalent.
Oh, absolutely. I'm actually, for the most part, honestly, with the latest development in Ryzen, I'm pretty much, I think we're going to be sticking to Team Ryzen from now on. Nothing against Team Intel, but Team Blue has been like, I found the benefit of using Ryzen. I still stick with GPUs like you. I have the 2080 Ti. I didn't end up going with the Super because I got it earlier. But you know what? NVIDIA for GPU and Ryzen does really good. All my games run. Been playing Call of Duty like for hours every other day. So I'm on this so off.
We talked about that too.
And it runs great. And the 2080 drives both my monitors behind me, so it works really good. So I really like it. And but it is the new age of gaming and stuff, right? How do you play? Do you play gaming? Are you a console gamer or you're a PC gamer? There's always that whole camp.
Right.
And I can't tell you how many times I go into Call of Duty when we're trying to go into any of the matches, and I see like 95% are on like Xbox and PlayStation, and there's like 3 people on PC.
You're right.
Like everybody plays it on on consoles, which I totally get.
I've never gotten a PC gaming.
It's the accessibility.
But I've always been a console gamer. You know what I mean? Ever since like forever. It's Halo back in the day. That's what my first multiplayer
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no. Halo
That's
Xbox,
what started
man.
the multiplayer. And
Gears of War, Halo, those are my games. Those are my games.
And ever since then, I've been just console. I never even dove into the PC thing. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. I started on consoles, and that's how it was always been, because the consoles have always been in a way more powerful in the sense of what we're able to get, and games were more optimized for them. But as it became more of a PC system, PCs still can perform certain things that consoles can't because of the level of graphics, like the refresh rate, because you're depending on a whole bunch of different components in the gaming system, right? The system has to push things. So with the new Xbox and the new PlayStations coming out, I mean, I'm not going to try to say if you guys are going to go one way or another. I'm going Xbox because I'm like Team Xbox all the way.
I'm just Xbox, yeah.
But I love how the PlayStation looks, like that design, that spaceshipy look, PlayStation thing. So it's going to be fun. I still use them. That's for the living room. But for when I'm really want to be seriously doing stuff like editing video and playing games, so many times I've actually done it where I'm like finishing an edit, I pause my edit, jump over, play a couple games, and then jump back and finish it.
Just because you can, yeah.
You got to disconnect, right? You got to disconnect and have fun.
You do.
But yeah, I wish Macs were a little bit more compatible with gaming and without having to install like Parallels or Boot Camp or something like that.
I just use it for, like I said, I just bought a pretty souped up 16-inch. And
I'm still rocking the 15.6. I like so I have a Mac too, just a point of reference. Mine is the 15.6, I think, from 2015, not 2015. Right. Not the last generation, one before the 16-inch
came out. The dedicated GPU, the 15, man, those things were solid. That was my biggest regret when it comes to Mac, because at the time I had just started YouTube, and I was just like, I don't need all this power, because I didn't know much about editing and anything like that. I had some friends that work for Apple. I was able to get it for a crazy discount. And then when I got it home, I was just like, what am I going to do with all this power? And I returned it. And that was and I went to a 13-inch. 13-inch was fine for what I was doing, but then the longevity of it, I was should have never got rid of that 15-inch, because that thing would have held me down probably all the way until recently. And I've been on a 5K iMac Fusion drive since 2017. And
wow.
It just now started to really slow down when I started to shoot 4K and my Sony footage. And I was like, you know what? I love my 5K iMac. I absolutely loved it. I sold it, and I sold my 4K monitor that I got to it. So now I got a 34-inch ultra-wide Samsung, and my 16-inch MacBook is just right here on the side. So
man,
I love the 16-inch so far. Like, I haven't really my Final Cut used to hang a little bit on the iMac. This thing, I dropped that footage on there, and I can just get the editing right away. I'm like, wow, this is what I've been missing.
And you're using the right tool for it too, Final Cut screams out over on a Mac.
It just works. So this is worth it. And I didn't like being tethered to my shooting space, to my shooting studio all the time. I wanted to go in the living room sometime and edit or something like that without always sitting at my desk just all day locked in. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go get a MacBook and then just hook it up to an external monitor, and we're just going to do it like that. And I'm satisfied so far. I like it. I have no complaints at all with the 16-inch. So, and hopefully this lasts me for years, because this thing was like $3,600. So It was an investment. It was an investment. It was an investment. So I look at it
absolutely.
as an investment. So.
The PC side is starting to come up with new creator-based laptops that are considered to be more specific for what we do.
Right.
And for me, that's what my laptop is. It's a Creator Acer laptop Concept D. So it has a 2080 built into it. It has a 4K monitor. Nice. It's really meant for creating. The only limitation that I faced with it is because we're still running a mobile version of the 2080, it's not going to be the same as running at a 2080 Ti. So I rendering speed and processing power, like when I have to do multiple edits, because I generally produce 2 videos at a time. It's for me, I want to be able to produce, like I'm editing a video and producing another video at the same time. And then at the end, when I'm done, go start, edit it. What's like coding the first video while the other one is rendering. So it's that double duty that I want to be able to do. But yeah, 34 inches, man, come on, you can't go any wrong. And that's what I have at the top here, right behind me. That's the 34 inch, the Mi.
I feel like on my space, I could have went maybe 38, but I wanted to go 4K. So this one is a WQHD, and I feel like it's a huge downgrade coming from that 5K iMac display. Anything is going to be coming from that display.
It's hard, but you're gaining the real estate. You're benefiting from the real estate, which I think.
I'm starting to not see my eyes are starting to adjust. When I first hooked it up, I was just like, ugh.
Yeah, I know.
That initial downsize.
It took me a few weeks to where now I'm 100% fine with this Samsung. Like I am perfectly fine with it. So I like it. It's cool. It's
is that the G7?
No, this is just the what's this? CJ. It's like $800, 34 inch. The CJ.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's I think the new G7s that they came out, the one they announced at CES, I think was supposed to be like a 27 and a 30. Oh no, wait. Yeah, there's a 27 and a 34 G7, and then
the
G9 is the 49.
The CJ 91. That's the one I have.
Okay.
The CJ 30. Yeah. Well, I was looking at that LG. The WKU, that 34-inch 4K monitor I think a lot of people use.
Yeah.
And I was looking at that, but I was just like, I don't really want to spend that much on a monitor right now. After I just spent all that money on the MacBook, I was like, you know what, let me just use this for right now. But if I feel like this is an issue, I'll upgrade. And I feel like I still will eventually upgrade.
Yeah.
But for right now, I love this thing. Like hooking up my work computer up to it, and I can have split screens where one input is on this side.
Exactly. Yeah, you can split the 2 displays. That's the beauty when you go with the ultra wide. You're able to have multiple inputs and so.
With all the Logitech, I went and got the Magic, the MX keys, so I can use Flow, and I can everything is just.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
You got what?
You got what? Hold on. Let me see. Can we get the keyboard?
You gotta have both.
I'm sorry. What? Can we play this game, my friend?
You gotta have it, man.
It's like I got my MX keys and I got my MX3. I'm like,
master, man. I mean,
dude, you gotta get
sponsored.
This was the best. I gotta do a video.
Not a sponsor.
I love this thing. Like I was gonna get that mechanical keyboard that everybody talks about. What is it? Was it a key? What is it? That one that everybody has. I forgot that mechanical keyboard that everybody has on YouTube.
I have a Logitech that I got. I'm not a Logitech.
I don't know if I want to hear the mechanical. I like quiet typing. I don't know if I want to hear that mechanical, man.
It depends on what keys you get, though, because there's different keys.
There's different switches, yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, I don't see. Yeah. So, you're talking about the Mac person where I like sneaking,
I have very quiet switches on mine. Like if you get like a blue switch, or I think it's the.
There's different options. There's also low profiles that you're able to get, like different keyboards that are mechanical. But you're right. The MX keys, absolutely hands down, one of my favorite.
Like
3
like
profiles,
illumination. Oh man, I love this keyboard. I put it on Twitter and I said, hey guys, what is a good keyboard? I'm a diehard MX master. I've had every single one. I always give my old one to my girl, so I think she has the 2. I think or the first one still, but. I was like, and everybody was like MX keys, and I was like, okay. I went and looked it up. I was like, buy, and I bought it.
It's worth it. It's $100. It's not. I mean, but it is. It's quiet. The battery lasts for a long time.
Yes.
I love the 3 profiles. So I have it connected to my personal laptop, my work laptop, and my desktop PC, and I switch with the same mouse and keyboard from all 3 systems. And when I go into the living room, hook up the laptop to the TV or whatever, and I'm able to just do things sitting in the back enjoying. It's nice. It's super easy. And that's what I was doing when you guys were talking. I just took the MX keys, put it in my lap, and I'm like typing around like you guys not even hearing what I'm doing here.
Quiet. I love this. Like it is one of the best purchases. MS Master, I always love these. And the Thunderbolt
it's hard. You know what?
Like all of this came together.
The MX3s are actually hard to get. They're out of stock. Like, everybody's buying them out.
Really?
They're actually really popular.
I'm
I
so
love
glad
the editing with them.
I'm so glad I bought all of this stuff before the quarantine. Like my Elgato key light, I was able to get that. I had cam links. I have a backup 4K cam link. Luckily I had all this stuff before the quarantine hit because you can't find it.
Hard to get.
You know what I mean? Oh,
Yeah,
man,
I kind of got into it back in early February, like late January, February, when I started doing the Amazon Live stuff. So I started building up stuff.
Yeah, I was doing them too for a while.
Man, Stream Deck for me is like it's a godsend.
That's
man. I love that.
That's the next thing that I'm kind of slowly researching, because I've seen a lot of people talk about this Stream Deck, and I'm like, let me research this thing, because I'm getting back into streaming myself, and I'm just like, I hear a lot of people talking about that Stream Deck, man.
It's an amazing switchboard, man. It's for everything you want to do, not just even just for streaming too, man. Automation. So for me, because you mentioned the Elgato lights, because you can also connect.
That's what I have right here, the key light. Yep.
Yeah. You can customize a whole bunch. Like, I have my lights in the back connected to it. I have my normal lights, the main key lights, because I have two of them. And I also have like a fan that's turned on here, which I have off now, but like I turned it on when I need it. Everything from the Stream Deck, and I have it, but I got the 32 key version. I didn't get the smaller one. I went with the really big one.
The big one. Okay.
I wanted the real estate. I know you can customize folders and different options in there, but I want the simplicity. But I also have all my websites set up correctly. Like, turn on OBS, turn on streaming, recording, change scenes, change intros.
OBS when I stream, and I have my scenes set up through. Oh man, so you're gonna
all of that.
But they're like sold out everywhere right now, right? Like, are they?
Oh yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's hard streaming stuff. People are getting into streaming. It's the thing to do. We're sitting at home. For me, at least, I know for now, I'm not going back to the office, working out of the office for my day job, not at least till the beginning of next year, or maybe February next year.
My job just said mid 2021 for us.
Yeah, and honestly, I think mine is just they said at the earliest at the end of January. And the reality of the matter is, like my kids doing online school right now, so it's even if things whatever, it's going to be hard. Yeah. But the goal is that I think it's great to customize, to kind of multitask things. We're in home, we're doing things, and we can jump to quick live streams on Twitch, on Amazon, or even on YouTube. Using StreamYard, I think it's a great tool, and I love the fact that it's free, so it's easy to use. So yeah, there's no question.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up because I know a lot of people have been talking about it, and I'm gonna look it up, man, because
it's worth it.
Everybody was like, if you use OBS and all those type of things, they're like, it's just super easy, just press the button. I'm like, oh man. So I'm looking at everything to streamline my workflow. That's what I've been investing in the past few days. Just stuff to just streamline my workflow when it comes to, because I'm just getting back in the mode of recording videos on YouTube. So I'm like, anything to make anything quicker and more efficient, that's what I'm about. So I need to look into those whenever they come in stock.
No, absolutely. And so speaking of which, actually, we talked about, you guys mentioned BlackBerry at the end. Did you? I also saw that you got the Axon. Was it the Axon 10, Adam?
Yes, I have the Axon 10 Pro.
10 Pro. How was that? Okay. I didn't get a chance to see. I don't think you pushed out the review, right? You just did the unboxing.
I have done the unboxing. Right. My review should be finished up here in a couple of days. It's coming out this week. Yeah. This phone is a fantastic deal. I got it for $339 on B&H. They had a sale. It's normally $550.
It is.
It's got the Snapdragon 855. It's got it's 1080p, but it's an AMOLED. It's got 12 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage. It's just fantastic for the price, and it's really snappy.
I mean, I'm a big fan of the Axon line of device. I'm kind of sad to see that they're not as they used to be. Let's put it that way. That's the best way to say it here in the U.S. at least.
They were doing good, and they had started making a footprint and establishing a presence here in the U.S. We got the ZTE Axon 7. We got the Axon M. Something similar happened.
I have the M, by the way. I still have the Axon M, the first foldable.
Something similar happened to them that happened to Huawei, and it was some regulatory stuff, and basically the government fined them a bunch of money, made them change things so that they could continue to operate here. But they basically got shut down right as they were getting into the market and starting to really establish themselves.
It was a hard time. Yep. Yeah, it's one of those tough things, unfortunately. But I do hope at some point that maybe we're able to move beyond that, and hopefully we'll get the competition back, because they made some really great hardware, like you said, with the Axon 7. It was one of the best DAX on the headphone jack there was amazing.
Yep.
The speakers were one of the best, the front-facing speakers on that thing. I still have my Axon 7. That's one of the reasons why I like it. I had to dig it up and make sure that it still worked. Like it boots up and it works fine. And I use it just for a media player because the quality of the audio on that thing was amazing.
The Axon 7 is actually what I upgraded from my BlackBerry Priv to, because I was playing a lot of War Robots on my phone and I needed a more powerful processor. Yep. So I bumped up. I moved over from my Priv to the Axon 7 so that I could play more games on my phone. And the Axon 7 was a very, very good device, a very good price.
Yeah. No, I like it. Like that's what I said. I was excited when I saw that one, and I'm glad that you're still keeping the BlackBerry kind of going on. I saw your video was doing good, which I'm happy there's still a lot of followers, man. Yeah, BlackBerry is unique. Not a lot of people talk BlackBerry, especially
I love BlackBerry.
Since HMD decided to kind of pull the thing on it again.
There's a lot of people that still really care about them, even people that aren't using them anymore, like people that have moved on from them for years and years. A lot of the videos that I make are not necessarily reviews, as they are as like a refresh, like just kind of taking a look at it again or having a discussion about the phone itself and kind of the thing. People like that because there's a nostalgia factor where they like to come back and enjoy being able to kind of just live that for a moment again, because the phone's meant a lot. See, phones don't really mean a whole lot to people anymore because, one, they just change so often. It's not like it was back in the day where you got this phone and you held on to it. Like, man, I had my Bold for 5 years, or I had my Pearl for 4 years. Like, man, I had to change the trackball on that thing 3 times.
Oh my God, I remember those 8330 days.
People really like related with these phones, and it's just not there anymore. So I don't even know if a lot of people, if they came back to BlackBerry now, if they would enjoy using a keyboard like they did back then, because everybody's been using these large screens for so long. But people have a lot of memories.
Oh, absolutely. I think so. The last one I used was the BlackBerry Key, the Key 2, and that to me was it was close to the experience that we had back in the day. Where the keyboard was nice, was responsive, the customizable shortcuts, all of the things that you wanted to do on the keyboard were there. But I remember the Bold, man. I went from the Priv to the Bold, and from the Bold, when I started going over into Windows Mobile, at that point, I started switching over to the MDA. It was a side swiped, slider. For the keyboard
slider,
and then that was running like Windows Mobile 5, and it was like the early days, and then I jumped over to Android. But BlackBerry and the Priv, and even Palm OS, man, that was the big driver, with the stylus and all of that. So
yep.
Man, those are the classics. But I mean, we all used them. They were considered to be more business tools at the time.
Man,
but
I love them. I think my favorite BlackBerry might have been the 8530. If I gotta take it back to the Bold,
even the old Nokias.
The Nokias.
Dude,
I love BlackBerry. I was so like anti-Apple back then. It was so unreal. I was diehard crackberry. Like, back then
Apple wasn't even trying to be in the business world, right? They didn't even try. But then at some point they shifted, or they pivoted into the business model.
And I switched right over.
and they went hard for every company. And all I know is. One year, all I know is my company was like, "You want an iPhone or do you want a BlackBerry?" And I'm like, "What? Like, you want an iPhone?" It was like around the 3 or the 3GS, right? And I was like, "Okay, I'll try the iPhone." And I was like, "Okay, that was fine." But you realize the security level, they started building it, and then of course administrative control. So I think that's when BlackBerry should have slightly changed. I think they should have course corrected a little bit sooner than where they tried later on. But They had their challenges.
They made a really good product with BlackBerry 10, and some of the phones that they made, the problem was they were 2 years too late. Had they tried to pivot to the storm, and they realized that they made a mistake. They actually scrapped the next product. They scrapped the OS. They went back to the building, the drawing board, and they came out with BlackBerry 10. But it was too little, too late. Because whenever Apple first came on the market, Android was still a few years behind. So when they were competing directly with Apple, had they pivoted then and saw what was going on, but see, the thing was they couldn't see what was going on because it hadn't been created, because iPhone was new with this whole, basically the media entertainment side of things and phones that they offered, that BlackBerry just wasn't in that space. I mean, I don't even think in people's minds are like, this is just for email and text messaging. Why in the world would somebody want to use their business phone to watch YouTube and drain their battery in 2 hours and then their phone's dead, and you can't do that while you're at work anyway. They were just so slow with realizing what was happening with the phone. Not that they weren't making good products. It was just the next big thing, and they had blinders on.
I think it was also they felt like they had a good stronghold on the business world, which is where things kind of shifted, is when Apple jumped in and they're like, nah, Apple is just, an iPod with a phone built into it. And then it was like, oh no, this thing could do everything we want to do.
It does a lot.
It does a lot more. iMessage encryption went in, two-way encryption on that thing. It's I know it's not BBM, but definitely, pretty close to what you think would BBM. Man. But yeah,
it was just about it's same type of deal, really.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. But yeah, no, I love the content that you're putting out there, and keep it up, man. Definitely,
yeah, for sure.
Appreciate it.
I've actually got another video I'm working on that'll be out next week because I bought the DTEC 60 because I never had any of the DTEC devices.
Oh wow!
So I'm actually enjoying playing with it right now. I was using it for a couple hours earlier today, and it just drives me crazy. I have like phones everywhere. I mean, I'm sure that you can relate. I've got like 3 on my desk there. I have like 6 over
right
here.
Now,
I have like 4 next to my bed.
Busy
I'm using like 4 different phones a day right now.
Yeah, that's how it is. It's hard to keep up, man. And it's going to get worse. Like I said, I got Pixel, the Note. If I'm thinking about picking this new iPhone up on top of videos that I got to do with this new desk setup, like OWC. They sent me their Thunderbolt 3 dock. I got to do a video on that. It's just like, I want to do a video on this mic, and I
have a few mics that I need to finish videos on. I actually have one sitting.
The camera channel, I got to do some stuff for the camera channel. It's just like, oh my God, man.
I actually had put out a tweet about a month ago because I had some stuff that I was supposed to be getting that the people just kind of ghosted on me with everything going on. I mean, it's whatever, but I have a drone that's being sent to me. I'm going to be reviewing my first ever drone.
Nice.
It's it's power. It's the power vision.
Is it a mini drone or a full size?
No, it's not like a huge one, but it's like $1,000 drone.
Oh, nice.
Some like little pontoon things you can put on it so you can land in the water. It's got it's very versatile. You can do a lot of stuff with it. So nice. I've got that's going to be here on Monday. And then I worked with Panasonic because I actually reviewed one of their camcorders. And it's funny. I know nothing about camcorders. I know absolutely nothing. But I was at CES and I made a contact with them. I'm like, hey, can I review that? They're like, yeah, we'll send it to you. Just send it back after like a month. I'm like, all right, cool. That'll be good for the channel. I'll do that. I mean, I want to try this out and see how it goes because I was kind of exploring some options for changing up from using my phone to record with. It's got over 100,000 views on it now. And I had to read like this 200-page manual. I'm like, what is this? What is this? How does this like? The PDF was seriously like 186 pages. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is it with these megabyte sizes and the codec?
It's so powerful, especially Panasonic cameras. Like I use a GH5. We're talking the one I'm recording with right now. That's my GH5, and it's honestly one of the best cameras on the market. My only thing that I'm waiting for is my Sony to come in so I can actually start adding some more Sony gear. I'm a big. My overhead is a Sony. Nothing against the GH5, but Sony finally listened to everything we've been wanting for years. They gave us the freaking flipping screen. We have the better menu. But to speak to what you're saying, though, honestly, camera gear is pretty big. It's a big investment, and people want to make sure that it does what they want it to do before they buy it.
Well, this is my very first real camera. It's the A7 II.
A7 II,
which I'm perfectly happy with. I got a good deal on it. I mean, they're expensive. I mean, it's full frame camera. I mean, it was like
good deals on those right now, though.
I got it open box with the kit lens. I think I paid $8.99 for it a few months ago, which was not bad.
Yeah, I know for the A7 II. Yeah.
And then I went out and bought this Sony lens. It's a FE 1.8, and I got it. I paid it was like $300 or $279 or something. So the whole thing was like $1,400. But it's everything that I needed. But Panasonic's actually sending me a camera. It's their Sony ZV-1 equivalent. It's called the G100.
The G100,
And they're sending me that. So they got my shipping info today. So I should be getting the G100 next week. I've got the drone coming in next week. I've got the Note 20 Ultra coming in next week. I've got the Pixel 4. I've got the
busy work, man.
I have like so much stuff.
On top of the buds,
it's
I like
crazy,
the Samsung
crazy.
Galaxy Watch. It's just like I got to do mesh Wi-Fi system.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
That's what Adam jumped in on my video. I was
them.
doing the Galaxy Watch 3 on over on Amazon.
I want to get it, man, because when I go Samsung, usually I like getting the whole thing, and I got to get the live. I gotta go Best Buy. They got them in stock up the street.
I was gonna say this is the weird thing. Like, so Samsung announces everything on Wednesday. On Thursday, everything. Well, so I take it back. The Buds Live and the Watch were both at Best Buy. You could walk in and buy them if you wanted to.
Yep.
I was
They're
like,
both
what?
in stock.
So yeah, but if you pre-ordered it with their website, it's not here till like next week.
Yep.
I'm like, God. I don't know.
It's busy
crazy
time.
stuff.
It's I have like a laundry list in my notepad written down of videos that I got to do, but I'm just now starting to get back on the rotation. I'm like, it's a perfect time to come back and really get focused because it's just about to get.
It's a good time right now. I'm actually not recording tonight. Tonight is my first night off in like 2 weeks from recording.
Yeah.
Because I've been putting out a video. I kid you not, every day.
You've been on the road. Like I said, you've been on fire.
Yeah, it's a lot, but it's paying. It's very rewarding. It's paying itself back in dividends. I've been getting a whole lot of interest lately in my content and my channel. So I'm very grateful and happy for that. But I need a break tonight. So
you gotta get yourself a mental break, man. Definitely.
And actually, I think it's about time probably to wrap up here. Normally I say it's for an hour, but I don't think it's ever actually stopped at an hour.
You know, when good conversation goes, man, it can.
I say the same thing on Saturday morning with tech, man. It never ends at an hour, at a couple hours. It usually always goes like over 2 hours or so. Like it's hard.
Yeah,
when the flow's going, you got to let it go. But yeah.
If you're by yourself, sometimes you can kind of wage it. But when you're with a panel, it can get hard.
Especially right now, like I don't get out and talk to anybody. So that's one of these. I love doing this on Friday night and then keep having people come on because it's like.
I'm glad you invited me, man. Because it gave me something to do tonight.
Yeah, it's good. I was talking to Dan and somebody else the other day, and usually by the time Friday evening comes around, like I'm kind of worn out. Like
right.
all week, work, the recording, family stuff going on. But as soon as I get on here on Friday night and I hit the start button and just start talking, it's just like it get all energized, and it's great because. Yes, we talk in and out about tech stuff here, but like tonight, I was looking forward to all day talking about some Nintendo games.
Yeah, and it's good to get away from tech sometimes, man, because you can get exhausted with it. Like you can, and I like talking about other things on live streams other than tech too, because sometimes you just get tired of hearing it all week, looking at everybody else live streams, making your own.
That's all we
videos.
do. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Get tired
we're always doing that.
Call you and talk about tech. Hey, I got people leave me messages like, "Hey, I want to get the Note 20, but they don't make a 512 gig in this." Like now, I gotta hear from my personal friends what you like. Man, it's sometimes it's
you guys know we're our friends' tech support department, and come on,
God.
every family gathering that used to be pretty much what happens. Like this isn't working.
Man. God,
no, I know.
But yes, I think
I'm glad you invited me though, for sure, man. I'm definitely glad you invited me to come on, man, for sure.
Oh yeah, thank both y'all so much for coming on. I'm glad y'all showed up tonight, and I'm glad we got to sit here and visit for a while.
A little bit late, but I did. Yeah, no, sorry, technical problems tonight.
I can go to the. I'm going to go in the other room, and then I just plugged in my Dreamcast in the other room, so I'm going to sit down and I'm going to play, I think, some Space Channel 5 and some Soul Calibur for a little bit before I call it a night.
Nice.
Yeah, but I'll probably lay it down. I might go and record a video, but I'll probably lay it down. I know my girlfriend, and I think they're knocked out with my son, so I might take him and put him on the couch so she can have some bedtime. So I'll probably sit up and try to find something on Disney Plus to watch or something like that.
Good. Hey, have you seen the Disney Imagineers documentary?
I haven't seen no. My son's been hogging up the what's it called, the Disney Plus channel. I haven't been able to see anything.
I have watched that. It's only like 6 episodes, and they're like an hour long, and it's basically how Disney came to be. So it starts off with like Walt Disney, and then it gets to like the point talking about the building of Disneyland, how everything's designed. You see all the stuff in the background, how they made all the animatronics and programmed them, and the computer boards, and the people. And they had this research division, or the division that made everything. They called them the Imagineers.
Okay.
Still around today. And then it was moving on the transition from when Walt died to when his brother Roy took over and finishing Disney World. And then the next episode is like Disney World France or Euro Disney, and then Disneyland Japan, and then the new stuff. It's really, really good. I mean, from a tech perspective, from just enjoying Disney and the happiest place on earth and understanding what went into it. It's really good. I love it. Like I
I have to
said,
check it out. Yeah.
it's
definitely.
6 episodes and they're each an hour, and I've watched it 2 or 3 times.
Nice.
I started watching that new Netflix movie, Project Power, I think it's called, the one that just came out today. So I started to watch that one tonight. But yeah, Disney's pretty much, my son is on there because he just watches all of the like the Avengers movies, all the cartoons. He actually went through all of the Simpsons seasons. Like this quarantine, he went through all of the Simpsons. I haven't done all of the Simpsons, and he's gone through all of the Simpsons. And
wow.
yeah, it's a great subscription. I have to say, we started it in January at CES, and it was right around like when we first started here. And I think it was around after CES when it first came out. We signed up right away, and
I think it came out like February, March.
Yeah. I remember it. So the reason we started looking into it was mostly around. So Friends used to be on Netflix for a while, then Netflix kind of took off. Friends, we lost Friends, so we started looking around, and then we saw, and then it came back with the HBO Max. So there's the whole different series. So now we have HBO Max, Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu, and just too much.
Yeah, it is a lot
to watch, man. Yeah, no, and then of course we're always online, content creation, and for me, it's been gaming. Call of Duty it's crazy.
I've been playing a lot of Warzone lately.
I gotta get back to Warzone. I might go
especially with Season 5 now, with the new options on there. I just got the season pass on that one, and just playing it every day.
Man,
Plunder.
Nice.
Plunder. That's pretty much.
Plunder. I'll have to get your gamer tag. I play pretty much every day. So
same. No, definitely. Yeah, we'd love to be able to get a couple games
back on, man, because I didn't play Call of Duty for a long time. I picked up Warzone. All my friends were like, T, you're gonna be rusty. You're not gonna be the old T. They were like, I said, no, I don't lose my Call of Duty edge now. I still got it. Now, don't give me the fan. I'm fun. I play so fast. It's ridiculous. It's probably bad that I play so fast, but that's my way of playing COD. I play fast. So.
Dude, but that's where that 34-inch monitor will play really nicely for you too. If you're you need that real estate, man.
I do, man.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thank you a lot, gentlemen. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out, and for everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. It's been a blast. It's a good time, and definitely we'll be back again next Friday for some more conversation and shenanigans. So everybody have a wonderful and safe weekend, and enjoy your time off. And gentlemen, thanks again, and I'll see you all next week.
You know it, man.
See you. Peace, man. Take care.